All right, guys, I'm so excited for this call. Britt and Manny and I had talked about it after Summit just because a lot of people had talked about, either coming back from Summit and having their husbands really super supportive, or maybe at the point where it's like, how do I get them to understand that this is something really big for me and that it's something that I want to take on and make it my full-time job. Kaylee, stop it. And I need the support of my husband. And, I started out the business before I even had a husband. I was only 22 years old. So my story will be a little different than what Britt and Manny had because they were already married. So you'll get kind of two different scenario type things. But I think that it's very important to be able to show your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend this, to show them like why it's so important to be supportive of your spouse, so that you're able to make this business something bigger. So we're going to start out, and I'm going to make Kirk be on the hot spot first and just have him kind of tell his story, how he started coming in. He's looking at me like, you knew this. But just kind of a little bit about, how he became supportive of this and stuff like that. And then we have questions at the end after you hear from Matt and Jeremy about what they, things that you guys had asked. And something else is just what you do for me and kind of help out with. Okay, so we'll hand it over to Kirk.
All right, so anyway, like Megan kind of already said, our situation is going to be different than a lot of people's, but maybe similar to some because we're just dating when all this started. We weren't already married. So I was still kind of trying to win her over. So I couldn't, put my foot down and say, no, you're not doing this and everything. I still had to, keep her happy. So, but anyway, she was already a coach actually when I had met her, but it was like in the very early stages of it. But we'll get more into that. So basically what we did is there was a thread that Megan put up on the important Team Fit Addicted where you guys, at least some of you guys asked some questions. So we went through and we kind of condensed those questions. So what me, Jeremy, and Matt are going to kind of go through and answer those to the best of our ability or answer them as they apply to us. So the first question was, were you on board with the business right away? If not, what helped you get on board? Which is a very common question. So like I said, we were just dating when she was doing the whole, starting the Beachbody thing. And I wasn't not supportive of it, but I was just kind of like, it's your thing. I don't need to be involved with it. I don't need to go to the stuff and everything like that. And then, hold on. Haley, can I put him on my side.
Is this the beginning?
All right. So anyway, when I first got on board, I was always supportive. Megan would talk to me about stuff. She would talk to me about going to Janelle's Diamond thing. I had no idea what that meant. I was just like, oh, that's awesome, whatever. And but I know the first time where I kind of became on board is when she talked about quitting her job. And I thought that was kind of like, well, that's kind of crazy. And it was a combination. That was right around the same time that she got me to go to Super Saturday, which is something we're going to talk about in a little bit, like trying to get people to go to events. But I went to a Super Saturday, and the Super Saturday was, it's not quite Summit, but it was kind of game changing. And then obviously one step further than that is going to Summit, and Summit was a big game changer for me. And it was a little different than it is now because it used to be in Vegas. So Megan's like, hey, you want to come to Vegas with me? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go gamble, have a few drinks and everything. And then you kind of get caught up going to some of the events, and, you kind of see what it's about and you like it. And then, obviously the other part is the paycheck. I think all of you will attest if you go to your significant other and you're like, hey, I made however much, even a couple $100 this month and enough to pay a couple bills. I don't see how anybody's going to be like, I don't know about that. So with that being said, I'll let Matt or Jeremy, whoever's ready, can kind of tell their scoop about when they got on board.
All right, let's see. Where's Matt and Jeremy? Here, we'll
sure,
go.
I can.
Yeah, okay. Did Matt go up or to Jeremy?
Okay, so Yeah, our situation's a little bit different because we'd already been married for several years and we'd already been out in the workforce and maybe getting started a little bit later in the Beachbody game. And for me personally, there wasn't doubt. There was probably more of this just general curiosity of what it was all about. And, it took a while for me to understand that it was something more than just a hobby. I obviously loved the fact I was immediately receptive to the results it was having, right? I mean, obviously, physically, emotionally, she was a lot happier. And so that as a foundation really warmed me up quickly. But in terms of actually becoming on board or seeing the real potential of what Beachbody could do for you, with in other ways, and particularly the financial aspect, that really piqued my interest when I started to see that, she was buying this great product and she was getting it paid for. Because, let's face facts. I'm a numbers guy. That's my background. My background is in statistics. And so that's kind of how my rational brain thinks. And so once I, already had that foundation and I saw that, she was having things paid for and, it was something that she was really excited about, it really started to warm me up even more. I think where I came on board is where I really saw, how much she was struggling with her job and she wanted to quit her job as well. As Kirk had mentioned, she wanted to make this her full-time job. And when I saw that as a goal, I really wanted to support her on that. And it didn't take long for me to realize, with my wife's drive, that this is something that she was serious about. And so, we're talking over the course of several months, right? It didn't happen overnight. I don't know about the other guys on the phone, but this isn't something that, the switch just, went off one night. It took a while for the oven to preheat. And, but once it did, then I was fully on board because I could see not only the physical transformation and the emotional transformation, but just the immense, legitimate possibilities that come with Beachbody.
All right. That was awesome, Jeremy. Now I'm going to grab Matt. We're going to pull him on and just kind of say, how you were at the beginning. Were you on board right away, or what was kind of that switch for you? Oh. There we go.
All right. Can you hear me? All right. Yeah, I was. I guess I wasn't not on board. I was pretty on board. I kind of grew up, and I kind of answer one of these questions a little bit later, so I'll try to make this one short. But I grew up around MLMs, network marketing. I had a friend that was very, very successful, multi-million-dollar type earner in these businesses. So I was very familiar with them. In fact, we were kind of doing another company type of protein shake while she was pregnant, just to get her some of the vitamins and nutrients that she needed. Carrying twins, it was hard for her to eat because she didn't really have room in her belly. So it made sense for us that way. And then from the business side, did I lose you guys?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Everything froze on my end. So from the business side, it started off as, hey, if you could cover the cost of Shakeology and it's not costing us extra money out of our pocket, then cool, go for it. So it worked out good there. And then, like Kirk said and Jeremy said, when I went to a summit, it kind of was a game changer. It was a real big eye opener for myself personally. She was making strides in her business, but I really saw the business side of it at a summit event. So that was pretty cool to see, just kind of how big they do. I mean, they brought in Darren Hardy, and it was like Kirk said, it was in Vegas. So, and I'll speak more to that a little bit later, but once I went to summit, I was pretty into the business side of it.
Okay, guys, so there's kind of a common theme between the three of them. And if you guys realize, you might want your husband 100% on board, being a working coach right next to you. I mean, it's all of our dreams, right? To have us and actually doing it right along with us. But from the beginning, each one of them was like, this is your thing. This is cool. You can do it, but this is your thing. And you'll hear from each one of them kind of when they say what they actually do to help us, that all three of them, they don't do very much on the actual forefront, with the social media type stuff, but they do a lot for us behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. So if your husband is not the type that wants to be posting on social media, we kind of tried that a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's just not for everyone.
We had a like page set up for Kirk and everything. And I was like, you need to post this, this, and this throughout the day. And
I mean, and I'm sure becoming a coach for a lot of you guys wasn't an easy decision. I mean, it took time and to think about it. And if you can think of how tough of a decision it was for you, like you can't really force someone to kind of to do it, you know. So it's not for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. Give your spouses time. And, you know, not to relate my mom to anyone's spouse, but my mom was like the big naysayer in my family. And she's like, this is never going to work. This is going to be just hobby money for you. Like, you need to go get your master's. You need to do this, you need to do that. And maybe you guys feel like that with some of your spouses, and that's okay, you know. And I used it to fuel me more. You know, I was like, watch, Mom. Watch what I'm going to do. You know, so use that. And I know it's hard, and we'll get into it later on, like how to handle things. But, you know, just know that that can be something that can be used for a positive. Okay, don't let it bring you down. Say, okay, I'm going to show my spouse that this is something that can really make a huge impact in our family. Okay, so.
All right, so yeah, the next question was someone said that their husband's biggest concern was that basically you wouldn't have any time for him, or that the time together would be affected, which can be the case. And when Megan and I, like I said, we were dating when this started, and dogs going nuts. But anyway, we were dating when this started, so and that definitely wasn't because Megan would ask me to come over to her apartment because we weren't living together, and I'd say, yeah, sure. And so I'd come over, and then it'd be like 8 o'clock, and she'd be like, well, I have a call at 8:30, 9:30, and 10. I'm like, okay, well, what the heck did I come over for? So it was an issue at the beginning, but a couple things that we've done to kind of overcome that was, I mean, Megan sets work hours, which I'm sure a lot of you know. And then again, like I said, our situation is a little different because Megan does do it full time. So it's easier for her to say, you know, well, I'm working a normal, 8 to 5, and after 5 o'clock, I'm not being on my phone. But for people that, they work their full-time job and then they have to find time for this too, I mean, it can be tough. But that's just something that we did. And then another thing you can remind your husband, significant others and everything is that I like to play golf. I like to play softball and stuff. And when I go do that stuff, it takes time away from her. I mean, I'm gone when I'm golfing. I'm gone 4 or 5 hours. And those are my hobbies. I don't want to say this job is a hobby, but I mean, at the beginning, that might be what they kind of look at it as. But I mean, when I want to do stuff for me, it takes time away. So there's got to be some give and take for that too. And then the other thing, obviously, is just to schedule time together. So schedule date nights, or, tell them, I have to do a little bit of work. And then after that, I'm turning my phone off from 8 to 10 and we can watch TV or, do whatever. So that was what's worked for us. But like I said, it's different since Megan does this full time. So Jeremy or Matt, Megan, you can do the unmuting.
Mm-hmm.
She's the IT.
Yeah.
We'll grab Matt. Okay, we'll grab Matt.
All right, I'll jump in. Yeah, we struggled with this in the beginning too. Brittany, I think it's worth noting too, we've got 3 different perspectives. You guys were dating. Jeremy, you guys were married for a while. Brittany was transitioning to being a stay-at-home mom with the kid. So 3 different perspectives, but we struggled with this. Brittany kind of jumped head in, full force, and on with technology, on Facebook from her phone all the time, in the car, on it at night, always. So like Kirk said, it revolves around communication. I mean, I think you need to sit down with your significant other, your spouse, and say, all right, here's the boundaries. Here's our goals. Here's what we're trying to do. This is what I want out of my business. This is where I think you can support me as my spouse or as my husband. I just think having those conversations are probably key to all this, because when you first get in, it's probably, like Meg said, all right, this is your thing. You can go do it. So the husbands really don't know what, being a coach is all about, what it means, how you run your business. They hear run your business, they think business world. So they don't think Facebook is running a business. They don't think Instagram and Twitter is running a business. They think that's playtime or, social media or catching up with friends or just wasting time. So I think having that dialogue of, hey, this is what running the business looks like. This is my goals with the business. This is what I would like to do. This is how you can support me. But I think, like Kirk mentioned, I think it's having those boundaries too. I mean, there's certain times where Brittany just needs to be off her phone and be with the family. I mean, there's times when it's family time and messages need to wait, whether it's vacation or whether it's, when I first get home from work, or if we're in the car driving and I'm trying to drive and the kids are going nuts in the back and she's on Facebook, I mean, it just doesn't work out. So we've had those conversations, we've set the boundaries, and at the same time on my end, I realize what she's trying to do in this business. I realize what she's trying to grow. So if that means she's up late at night and, it's time away from us at night, then so be it. I mean, if the time that she puts in now can get where she wants to be in a couple of years, emotionally, financially, helping other people, to me, it's a sacrifice worth, it's worth it to me. Like, yeah, it's going to be some time apart for us, but in the grand scheme of life, if she's doing what she loves and she can help other people and she can make a financial impact, I mean, I support that 100%. So.
Yeah, that was well said. I think this is one theme that's going to ring true across all three of the guys is the boundaries. And, I'll tell a quick story, right? It won't be graphic, but obviously the other guys may relate, but, I'm tired. I got to get up at 6 a.m. I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock. Okay. And, there are those times, maybe, 2012, 2013, where I'm a little irritated. Okay. It's 11:15. Where are you? It's 11:30. Where are you? All right. It's hard for me to go to sleep unless my wife's in bed next to me. And, there were some arguments there. But as I got past that and I realized, I don't want to reiterate what the other guy said, this is something that's serious, right? It's not playtime. Then I think the transparency had to be there. And that's when we sat down and we really, just as you try to communicate with your spouse on all other things about, your marriage, we had to be transparent about the boundaries here as well. So we had that conversation, and then that put, my mind at ease of, what was going on. And so, I think Manny having a high, yeah, and I was just about to get to that, is Manny having a high drive, at the time that, that she started this, she was still working. She was a new mom, again, slightly different perspective. And so the time was limited. It was only really limited to after our son went to bed. So the window of opportunity for her was pretty narrow. Okay. It wasn't whenever. It wasn't, I think I'll do this from 8 to 10. I think I'll do this from 1 to 3. No, it was, our son's in bed. It's 9:30. I got to get to work. And so that took me a while. This is before, obviously, she talked about wanting to quit. In those early days, it took me a while to figure out just what was going on. But through, it is anything with marriage, there has to be goals, there has to be transparency, and there has to be those boundaries. And so I agree with the other guys on that.
Hey, Meg, I want to add real quick, and I'll kick it back over. I think you made a good point, Jeremy, that we need to keep in mind also as husbands is the people that you guys are trying to reach have busy lives like Manny had when she was working a corporate job. Sometimes their only availability is at nighttime after their kids go to bed. So believe me, Brittany would not, if she could choose her hours, she would work during the day. I mean, obviously, but sometimes the people she needs to reach, that's the only time they have available. So she makes it work.
Oh, I didn't know.
Usually you cut in.
He was like, can I unmute myself? So I thought he was going to say something. But it's cool to hear this from a guy's perspective, because there's been times where I've been working and I've told a lot of you guys this, that I set a timer because it'll be, I'll say I'll be upstairs for 45 minutes and then it's an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 3. And he's like downstairs waiting for me to do something. And it's like, ooh, I didn't even realize it, because this is the kind of business where, it's fun. It's exciting when you're talking to people and you can get addicted. Like Facebook just sucks you in, right? And I think that we have to remember on the other side, by being the wives and the girlfriends, that we need to be aware of that, and not taking advantage of our husband's time as well, like making even full-time working moms make this work, and still have very healthy relationships. And your family should always come number one. Okay, this business is going to help your family, but you have to always remember your family too. And there's been times where I've screwed it up I mean, we broke up for a couple weeks because of it, and then got back together. And I knew that I needed to create that healthy balance. So if you're at that point where you're like, oh, Meg, like, how do I fit this in? We can set up a time to chat on the phone, make it work for your schedule. Whether you're working full time and you're a new mommy or whatever, we'll make it work, because everyone's schedule is different, but you do have to remember to keep your family at the forefront, and then know that this business is going to help your family in the future. So there might be things that you're giving up right now that you're sacrificing, maybe bath time with your kid for a couple months, or a TV show that we watch together, knowing that, okay, we can't watch it right now, but now we have DVR, so you can watch it at another time, so really remember that you have to have those set hours as to when you're working. Okay, so we're going to move on to
the next question is, how do I get my husband to want to come to events and get involved with the business, not even if it's actually working it, but just learning about it? Like I said, not every husband's going to want to go right to Summit, and that's understandable. So the best thing really to do is to maybe start with like a Super Saturday. A lot of it will depend on what the Super Saturday is like around, your local Super Saturday. But that's something easy to hopefully get them started with. If they don't want to come to a Super Saturday, what I would suggest is just really kind of letting them know how important this is to you. And you would think, as like a husband, that you would hope that if you express to them, over months and however long it is and everything, how important this is to you, that they come to one of these events. Hopefully, Super Saturday can be a stepping stone to maybe going to a Summit eventually. And I promise, you can tell them this is a quote from me, they'll enjoy Summit much more than they think they will. So, and I think Matt and Jeremy can probably attest to that. But the other thing, as far as like getting involved with the business, is if you have, if you have challengers, if you have customers who have success stories, make sure you share that with them. I know some of the comments in there, this is like they don't really care about it, but make sure, it's an MLM, but it's not like, where you're selling lotions where it's going to change anybody's life. You're selling health and fitness products that actually work, that are proven to work. If you can share with them that, hey, my challenger lost 40 pounds and she feels awesome and she feels great, and she wants to pay it forward and everything, hopefully that'll draw some interest in as well. So Matt and Jeremy, if you want to take over.
I can jump in here. I agree. In terms of working the business, it's something that I like what you said about we're not selling lotion here, and so I've actually reaped the benefits myself. I'm in better shape than I was, when I was 20. Right, that is true. And because of that foundation is there. No problem, talking with people at work, being my own product of the product, right? To use one of the core behaviors, and I've tried to learn, right? I've tried to engage. I've tried to actually make this part of our dialogue. There was a point where I said, I'm not going to fight anymore, or I'm just going to stay out of the way. I'm actually going to be a catalyst. Okay, so I think there's a difference between someone who is not an inhibitor, but then can also really not help to, push development along. I wanted to be a catalyst. So in doing that and talking with Manny, she's taught me a lot of these vital behaviors. She's obviously helped me to men are kind of stupid, and so we need a little bit of an extra push to get things done. And so she's helped me to be accountable to get my workouts in. And you know what? People see that when I have given up the idea that I'm going to have to probably be seen in a muscle shirt on Facebook. So I've just gotten used to it. And you get used to going to work and someone's like, what were you doing? So, and that just, it allows a platform for you to talk to coworkers. I have driven people to Manny saying, you know what, I think this is probably what you're after, but you know what, talk to my wife. She'll be able to help you out. And so just becoming educated with your spouse, it will fuel that fire in you to be that catalyst. It really will.
Yeah, and on top of what Jeremy said, Megan put up a video of us doing size together, and believe me, I heard that from about 10 to 15 to 20 of my friends.
And
so
how many likes and comments did we get on that?
The ladies loved it, but the guys they're not so much.
Yeah. So, sometimes the husbands have to suck it up because they're going to get a lot of likes and comments when they see two, a husband and a wife together doing things. So,
All right, Matt, you can go ahead.
I'll give another angle on this. Why wouldn't you go to a summit event? Just take the business piece right out of it. Why don't you just plan it as a vacation? That's kind of how I looked at it the first time we went to a summit. I looked at it and said, hey, look, we can get a babysitter. We're going to go to Vegas. We'll make a trip out of it. And I happen to be in sales myself, so I was curious. I wanted to hear Darren Hardy speak, so that helped. But even if they go just see the keynote speakers, I think it will gradually turn into them wanting to be around more. That kind of is what happened to me. I wanted to go to vacation. I looked at it as, hey, we can spend some time together in Vegas. You can go do your things that you need to do. I can either go to the pool or get some work done in the room with the computer and some Wi-Fi, and we'll have a nice little vacation. So take the business piece out of it. And I say, it'll turn into a business thing, but make a vacation out of it.
Yeah, even if you have to go, even if you tell them, hey, we'll go down to Summit. It's in Nashville. That's a fun place. If you say we can go down a couple days early, do what you want to do a couple days. If you go to like an event or two with me, and then, hopefully I go to all of them. And then they'll see, Beachbody puts a ton of money and a ton of, it's like it's a production, it's entertainment. It's entertaining going to the events. It's not like you sit there and, you're bored out of your mind. So, and then they'll see that eventually too, hopefully. But yeah, go down early a couple days if you can work it out, just to get them to that first one. And then the next year you may not have to do that, but you got anything?
I think that's awesome, guys. And yeah, so, if your husband's not really on board about going to an event, like they said, make it something fun, and say, I kind of just want you there for moral support. And then they will once they get to a real event. These are three guys, as soon as they were there. I remember that first summit, he was like, this company's legit, like Carl was flying across wasn't he flying across the stage or something, something crazy, so they really do things that catch, your attention and stuff like that.
Yeah. I remember going to the first session and Megan was like, will you come with me? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come with you, whatever. How long is it? 3 hours. I was like, I'll leave after an hour or two. And then I was there the whole time. And I remember asking her, I'm like, so when's the next one of these? Like, when do we go to the next session? Like, it was cool.
Same here. It was, I just kept texting my friends saying they rented out MGM, like the MGM arena, like where all the fights are, like they rented out the entire thing for the entire weekend. They just, there's some wow factor there. Definitely.
Yeah. I'll jump onto this bandwagon as well. Summit was a lot of fun. I'm kind of a history nerd. And so I wanted to get out and check all of these museums out, a lot of history around Nashville. And I found myself, checking the schedule and going back to the breakout sessions with Manny, because I saw the quality of the speakers and the topics they were talking about. It wasn't a scam. It was legitimate. And I never thought that going down to Nashville in the first place. I was just surprised at myself, knowing this is my vacation. I work all the time. I work 50 hours a week. I wanted to go do my own thing. You know what? It wasn't pulling teeth. I actually legitimately wanted to come back and listen to those breakout sessions, and it was worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that Jeremy just said that, because maybe your spouse does think it's kind of like a pyramid scheme or a scam, or, I know my mom thought that. He didn't really know anything about it to know if that was a pyramid scheme or a scam, but I think he just trusted me at that point. But my mom was the one that was saying those things in the background. And I think now, she's my biggest fan. She wants everyone to do it. So they'll come around, and I'm sorry that I'm comparing my mom to a spouse, but it's kind of the same thing,
no,
right?
Hey, Meg, can I add?
Yeah.
Can I add something real quick? Because when you said that, I just pulled up this thing, and I think it might resonate with some people. At Summit, just this past Summit, I remember the big, and I have it on my phone here, where Carl pulled up MLH. He says, some of you guys think that it's a pyramid thing. He's like, we are a multi-level helping company, MLH, where each one who is helped has the honor of helping the next. And he's like, we could have led with the money aspect. I remember who said that, but I was like, I get chills when I think about it. He's like, when this came about, they're like, lead with the money aspect. That's what a pyramid, sorry, that's not what we are. That's what a pyramid scheme is. He's like, but we wanted to lead with the helping people. I don't know. And it was so powerful to hear that MLH. And I was like, man, I'm screenshotting that, because it was like, we are multi-level helping. The only way anybody succeeds is by genuinely helping others. And it's not throwing money at people and be like, here, invest this much money and you're going to like roll in the dough. We don't do that. So anyway, just had to add that.
No, and to piggyback on what Mandy said is Megan's mom loves to just kind of beat into Megan like it's sales, which it's sales. I mean, we're not, if these products don't sell, there is no Beachbody, we get it. But when you legitimately believe in the products, you know that they work, and you know once someone starts it, it's legitimately just going to help them. It's not really sales to you. It's like Mandy said, it is helping them.
Yeah, and this is a little side note, and then we'll move on to the next question. But my Aunt Marcia, I've been a coach for 6 years, you guys, right? 6 years. And my Aunt Marcia, I'd asked her several times. I remember the first time she asked me about Shakeology when I first signed up as a coach, and she compared it to Slim Fast and said that I said it was the same thing as Slim Fast, which I was like, I'm pretty sure that never came out of my mouth. Well, 6 years later, my sister Corinne is helping her, and she's down 32 pounds, you guys, 32 pounds doing the 21-day fix. And that's multi-level helping, okay? You're helping people get healthier, and now she loves it. She loves the 21-day fix, and she can still have her beer and everything, so she's really happy.
All right, so next question. It's kind of long, but it's basically saying, how do I convince my husband that I'm not just playing on Facebook and I'm actually working? And that one's, it's simple and it's not. I mean, obviously, all you know that it's not just playing on Facebook. You guys all use Facebook totally different than the normal person, including Megan. It is for fun, and it's, to check what other people are doing and stuff, but it is to run your business. And I think just explaining that to your husband or your significant other that obviously you're not just playing, you're not scrolling through your news feed to watch funny videos and look at funny pictures, that you're checking into your groups and you're helping people and stuff. But then also just explaining, I'm just going beyond Facebook, is that just social media is obviously the easiest and quickest way to reach a ton of people. I mean, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook. She's smiling because I said Periscope. But that's, and explain to them too. I mean, if you look at any major corporation or business, they have Twitter accounts, they have Instagram accounts, they have Facebook accounts. I mean, so it's not like it doesn't work. I mean, all those major companies have all those social media platforms too. So I don't know. I mean, if Matt and Jeremy have anything to add, but it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate onto what you said. It's I'm not a social media guy. I'll be pretty straight-faced on that. But boy, do I scroll every day now. Amazing. And it's not obsessive, but it's fun. Like before, I just don't need it. I'm good. But through this culture, it started with the support, but then it turned to like, wow, this is great. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder what my high school buddy's up to again. So I'm scrolling all the time too. If it can catch on with me, it can catch on with any of you guys out there.
Yeah, and I think it's almost important to maybe show your spouse what you do. Because like he said, like he just got one of those Apple Watches, and I'm like, oh, you will never get me to wear one of those because it'd be going off all the time, right? We'd go crazy because we don't use Facebook the way that other people do. Like he'll be like, did you see so-and-so's post? I'm like, no, because I'm not in the news feed, right? We are in our groups. We are messaging people. We're connecting, we're posting on our pages. It's like, we don't have time to keep up with the news feed. And if it is, it's when we're like about to go to bed, right? And we're just scrolling. So, all right, guys, let's move on to this next question. So what makes you feel like you're a part of?
So it says, what makes you feel like you're a part of this? And what makes you feel like you have a hand in the business too? So this is kind of a loaded question, and it's going to differ significantly on your what am I trying to say? On your kind of spot in the business, where you're at, what your husband's doing, and everything like that. So as you know, Megan does this full time, and then I work part time. I went part time kind of to help her and for other reasons and everything like that. But I work a couple days of the week. So obviously, I'm going to have more hands on than someone who's some husband who's still working their regular job and everything. So I'll kind of go from my perspective. So a couple of things I do is I help keep Megan organized. So like the team retreats we do and stuff like that, obviously if you've been to them, you kind of see, I do go through the groceries, I do the planning, find where we're getting food, stuff like that. Other things I do is I kind of update some documents that she has. She has like a spreadsheet for her new coaches and, keep track of them and everything. So every Thursday I'll go in and update all their spreadsheets for her. And then if you see her, or what do you call that picture?
PV shout out?
Yeah, your PV shout out with the top producer and everything. Every Thursday I put that together, which I'm not tooting my own horn. It's not that much, but and then just a couple other things I do. I mean, I don't actively work the business, obviously, as you see on social media and stuff, but I still talk about it. I do my wear and tear. I'll wear my P90X shirts and everything. And then I've gotten Megan a few coaches, and I've gotten Megan some challenge packs that she sold and everything like that. But just kind of play off of each other's strengths. I mean, if you're not organized and he is, obviously have him help with some organization and vice versa. And like I said, it's going to depend on his role. I mean, like I said, if he's still got a full-time job, maybe his partner is just going to be supportive to listen to what you have to say and help out when he can. And that might be it. And maybe that role will expand in the future. So.
He's also my personal proofreader. So if I put something up, he's like, did you mean to put that up? And I'm like, oh, no, I got to change it, And I'm like, you guys might think from the outside, like looking at things with the business that I've done for our team, that I'm organized, but I am the most chaotic, unorganized person in the whole entire world. Like my mind is going a million miles per minute or whatever. I'm like, Kirk, what do you think about this? And he's like, well, this is why that's not going to work out. And that's why that's not going to work out, but that might work out.
And I'll have to see, Megan took a picture of the Platinum Edge last year with Christine Dwyer. Her husband did a whole presentation on, he's, I guess, a full-time assistant. I mean, he doesn't work or have another job, and he put up a couple slides of like everything he does, which is more involved than what I do. And I'm pretty sure Megan took a picture of that because obviously she wanted to put it on my to-do list. So we'll see if she still has that.
Matt and Jeremy, you guys want to chime in?
Sure. I can be very specific here. I'll kind of lead into this with the progression. I talked about the oven that's preheating, and it took a while. Well, it's red hot, and it's staying hot. And it really took a next level after Summit. Okay, it really did. And I'm a type of guy that, I work a corporate job for 50 hours a week. And it came down to, this is really a cultural change within our family. And, my dad was an entrepreneur, right? He owned his business, and I saw him build it. Very slowly over time, and he had to work unconventional hours. And it just finally clicked that there is, there's still things that we can do in America to build ourselves and pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. And you know what? As corny as that sounds, this is one of them. This is something that you can build as your own enterprise, your own entrepreneurship. Your hard work will pay off. And so it clicked for me. And after I put my son to bed, on Mondays and Thursdays, I treat that as work hours. Typically, I'd sit down, particularly as fall's coming on. What do we have on Monday and Thursday nights, gentlemen? Football. So there's a game going on right now, isn't there? I love DVRs.
Bucks are up 14-0 if you're wondering.
The Big Ten needs to do something better. So anyway, what do I do specific during those nights? And it's not just those 2 nights, but I try to make those business nights. I have taught myself how to get in her back office. 3 months ago, not a clue. Now I know how to get in and root around in there and find. I'm like, I don't even know what does PV mean? What is TV? What is LV and RV? And you're probably like, oh geez, corporate guy, all these acronyms. Get in. If you're a husband that likes to just organize, if you like metrics, if you can get in there and quickly acclimate yourself because there's a lot of hot links in there. So what I do is I get in there and I track her metrics. I track all of her weekly PV. All right. I help her with these numerical pieces of the business that, she doesn't need to be worried about right now, because what I saw my father do is he was the bean counter. All right. And I hate to go in a little rabbit hole, but my dad is the bean counter. He always has been. He still carries around this clipboard. He's 71 and he's got this giant clipboard with just long division all over this thing. I don't even know what he's figuring. but I have some of those tendencies as well. But his partner in his trucking business was the sales guy. He went out, he talked to the clients, he made the connections. Man, he loves to do that. And I think any husband, I'm not going to stereotype, we might have a little bit more of a rational, okay, I don't want to offend anybody, but that's the way it is within our marriage. Is that I love all of that rational side of the thing. So I get in and track all those metrics. I think it really, it helps free her up to do what I personally think is the hardest part, is making sure you connect and help others. That takes a lot of mental focus, is getting to know somebody, understanding their needs, and trying to figure out where they're at this part of their journey. That's where the real hard work comes in. And so I try to take the more of the numerical and the metric side, the cold hard numbers of how'd you do this week, volume, carryover volume, right, active and inactive coaches, looking at sponsorship drill down. Okay, these are things that you could take. I swear to you guys, give yourself a couple hours and you'll learn a whole lot through the hot links. So anyway, I'm rambling on. I'll give Matthew a chance, but that's what I try to do for my wife on a weekly basis.
Yeah, like both of you guys. I mean, I think it's a process that evolves over time. I mean, in the very beginning, it was like, hey, this is your thing. I mean, you guys do way more than I do. I'll put that out there right now. But my support, I don't know how to say it, but my support over time has definitely evolved. In the beginning, it was more like, hey, this is your thing. If you want to bounce ideas off me, that's fine. But don't be tagging me and stuff. Don't be putting me all over Facebook. Keep the kids off there. So overcome that hurdle pretty quickly, and it's evolved over time. And I think part of it is how much the spouse wants to be involved. I mean, I think any spouse should be supportive. That's just my personal opinion. So whether or not you want to be a part of the business or not, you should still support and ask questions and see how they're doing. You may have a different angle on something that they're struggling with, and you can help them out. And I think that's kind of where I play in for Brittany. I've been in the business and sales world for a long time. So when she struggles with things, I get told no a lot. I get told no a lot in my job. So, I can bounce some stuff off of her or pick her up when she's down or when she's struggling, or help her see things in a different angle. Or if she's upset about something, we can find the positive in it. And I guess the other part of that equation, I'll throw it back on whoever's running the business in the relationship. I'll throw it back on you a little bit in terms of spouse involvement. If you're not telling your spouse about the success stories or what you're doing, or how you're running your business, or who you're helping, or involving them, or thanking them for being so supportive of the sacrifice that they're making with their time, they're not going to feel like they're part of it. So I would suggest that if you're not doing those sort of things, that it would be very helpful. I know at first Brittany probably wasn't doing that as much, but as her business got more busy and she got more busy, which means less time with me, she started thanking me more and just trying to involve me more, talking about it as our business, not just hers. And she'd share what her vision was, what she wanted to do for the family. And I think that really brought me in even more. So two-way street, how much you want to be involved and how much do you try to help your spouse be involved?
I love that. I love that point. Sometimes we might just assume that they're not supportive, maybe because they might have said some things a couple times. But I think the more that you can involve them, the more it's going to feel like us business as just your business. And I think something that you didn't really share is that he also, if there's things around the house that needs to be done, or like grocery shopping, or like, I'm terrible. If I've ever mailed you anything, I'm sorry, because it probably took like weeks, because it's like, I just don't know. I'm a hermit. I don't like to leave the house ever.
I go to UPS, do all the shipping.
He'll do all of that stuff, and that helps a lot, because then it gives you more time to be the one talking to people, building those relationships, and then all those other things are things that you don't have to have your hands on,
Just cut out the busy work. Have me do it.
Yeah. All right. I think are we on our last question?
Yeah, last question or two. So basically this one might be one that Megan and Manny can kind of get a word into about it, but it's basically says that my husband loves Beachbody products but has no desire to work the business, and I have trouble finding time to work my business. So how am I going to work mine and my husband? Well, I think what maybe they're referring to is is if you're working your husband's business, that doesn't necessarily mean you have like 2 Facebook pages where you're posting on both and working 2 separate. I mean, it's basically, you know, you're doing all the normal stuff you would still do. But it's just occasionally, you know, if you get a coach that wants to sign up, Megan and Manny could kind of maybe tell you how they approach having them sign up under your significant other, because that can kind of be a slippery slope. And if you get a customer every once in a while, just put the order through your husband. So, I mean, you're not really doing anything different. And it's kind of like Megan was telling me, but anyway, once you get to 2-star diamond, you can open up a second business center, and vice versa, or not vice versa, but you can keep going and open multiple business centers. So it's kind of the same as you would look at that. I mean, it's just like another business center that you have. So, I mean, if you open your second business center, you're not going to do anything different. You're not going to open a new Facebook page and account for your second business center. I mean, everything you're doing the same. You're just going to occasionally put some customers, put some coaches through that business center or through your husband's business.
Yeah, this is exciting. This is actually a part that I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to speak on this. So here's the cool part. Kirk, you made some good points too. First of all, I finally wrapped my head around it. I did this in the beginning, but I finally understood the magnitude of it later on in the business, of signing up your spouse very early on in the business. I can't stress this point enough, you guys. And I'll tell you why in a second. But you know, first of all, you want to get to Emerald right away, which is not the purpose of this call, but you want to get to Emerald because that's when you start tapping into that team cycle bonus, as Meg has taught as well about the importance of that. But your husband or your family member, or if you don't have a husband, you know, a significant other, family member, but if you have a husband or spouse or a partner, whatever, put them up there because they are going to be at the top of your, as I like to call it, food chain, for lack of a better word. And they are going to be able to be treated until you get to 2-star as your business center, as your other business center. What exactly do I mean by that? And I could just tell you how I have built my business. I always strive for hitting Success Club first. Okay, for me, just because mentally that makes sense for me. Once I hit Success Club 10, 5 or 10, whatever your goal is, okay, then I'm like, okay, you know, and my rank was secure and all that. Then I started thinking about, let me do the next challenge pack or perhaps the next coach under my husband. So that was always my kind of comfort level. Hit Success Club first for me, look at my downline, make sure that, you know, if I'm going to sign up a coach, do I need to sign up a coach to keep my rank? Or, you know, is my business in danger right now? So again, I make those decisions based on informed genealogy, looking at my genealogy in an informed way. But then after that, I was like, I need to treat my husband like a second business center, meaning if I'm Emerald, right? Let's say you're Emerald, why not put a coach under my husband? And then you get to cycle more. So in essence, that coach is your person. Who cares? I changed my husband's username to Watkins Fit Fam, okay? And just to address it, I hope I'm not addressing it too early on, Meg, but I basically tell the person if I'm signing them up, I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm sending you this link. I'm signing you up under our family account, and it's going to show that my husband, Jeremy, is your coach. But I'll be working with you. It's just showing that you're under Jeremy, but it's our family account. I literally have never had to explain anything beyond that. And if someone has a problem, I would be like, okay, I'll sign you up under me, but it would be the same, but nobody has. So the commission is still in your pocket, right? But the best part about it is that if you don't have a second business center yet, because you're not 2-star yet, you're going to be able to team cycle bonus off of that because you're giving your husband team volume that you're going to benefit. So not to confuse anybody, but anyway, there's no negative thing. If your goal is to hit Success Club and you want to do that first, after that, if you want to put a coach or a retail sales is huge. That's the other thing I learned. After your challenge packs have been done and you hit Success Club, maybe, I don't know, Meg, I don't want to tell people to do a carte blanche thing, but for me, I've done some retail sales under my husband because that also helped my team volume grow. So there's nothing different. I don't create a Facebook page for Jeremy. It's me talking to them. And literally I just say, I'm putting someone under you. Good job signing up a coach, babe.
Yeah, I did a good job.
And he's like, yeah, I'm rocking it. I'm like, yeah. So I don't know. Did that help?
That's it, you guys, because one of the questions you guys were asking were like, what do you do? Like, how do I have 2 separate business centers, one for my husband and one for me? And I don't know if you guys are thinking maybe you have to have a Facebook page for them and run it separately, like as Kirk and then me, but no, it's all one, like it's all going to be one paycheck. And they call it like double dipping because you're basically getting the commission in his business center, but then you're getting the personal volume points in your business center. So then you're team cycling more, guys. So it's like, it's very silly to not sign your spouse up as soon as possible. And sometimes people fight me on it and are like, oh, maybe, I'll just wait a little bit because my spouse is not really supportive yet. And I get that. That's okay. He didn't sign up till, I don't know.
That was your choice.
Yeah. It was a while. I'm going to make sure it was going to last.
Just sign them up anyway. Can you do that? Or they got to know?
Yeah. Kirk. Okay. But it's smart to have your spouse signed up, and you do not have to run them as two separate business centers. Okay. Just know that. Another thing was, is it necessary for a husband to have his Facebook account, and how do we get their friends, wives to be on, on board. There we go. It's pregnancy, sorry guys. On board with all of the Beachbody stuff. And for us, I mean, the thing with guys is they can just so naturally, and I know I've heard Matt and Jeremy talk about it, and I hear Kirk all the time, just naturally talk to people, and people just automatically believe them. They're like, oh, that's what you're doing? Okay, I'll go buy a P90X, or I'll go buy a T20. Oh, whatever. I've seen it happen. And then it's like,
true. It's true.
Because guys see another guy get results, and it's like, all right, then I want to do it, But Kirk will just talk to people about the business and then bring them back to me. He'll say, add my wife on Facebook, and she'll kind of explain it to you, because he doesn't know those details, and you need to, because that's my side of things. So you don't have to have two separate Facebook accounts. Some husbands do want to be, a Facebook account and do all of that, but they don't need it. Manny, do you have anything on that to say?
Yeah, that's Jeremy has done that a few times too. And you're so right, Meg. I totally agree with you. It's natural. I told Jeremy, I'm like, I'm going to have to start making Shakeology, and you take it to work. And I think just him holding a cup will be like, what is that? Because I know of other coaches whose husbands do that. And they're like, what is that you're drinking? And they don't have to say a word. But he has referred people to me before, and some have bought it just to program some. But the point is that now he's comfortable just mentioning it. Another side thing that, as I forgot to mention before, is you guys, sometimes I get objections from my coaches, or other people that I've talked to about signing up their spouses is, well, I don't want to pay another $15.95 or another Shakeology order. Now I'm going to tell you what we did. And again, depending on your goals, if your goals are to get your husband getting leads and all that, that's a different ballgame. But let's just say you sign up your husband, okay? And you're like, man, I don't want to have Shakeology here. That's $15.95 times 2 or 16, whatever it is now, in different areas. You know what we do for Jeremy, what we first did? We're like, what vitamins do we want that's going to qualify for that 50 PV that would keep him active? And so I would get like simple, like some simple vitamins, which were like the core pack, which included omega-3 Activate and what is it? Calcium, magnesium, core. It was like $44. And it was 50 PVs, and that's how I kept him active for the longest time.
And I'll just add one thing. She doesn't go to Walgreens as much anymore.
And I don't go to Walgreens as much anymore. But I'm just saying, like, think of other vitamins. If you're like, we have enough Shakeology, my husband's not drinking, I'm the only one drinking it, I don't want to spend another $90. There's other things as cheap as $41. The slimming formula is $41. Now you've got performance lines that the men could love as much as the women love, but that you could literally be like, what is 50 PVs that maybe I could purchase through my husband's account? Just the thought. So don't feel like it has to be another Shakeology if you don't want to do that. If you're trying to watch funds, and I promise you that $15.95, you're going to get that back with that first team cycle bonus. Even if it's $14, you're like pretty much there. So Meg, does that?
Yeah, and if you guys have not used Derm Exclusive, oh my God, start using that. Like, people are like, oh, you're glowing. I'm like, oh, it's Derm Exclusive. That stuff is money, you guys. So Matt, Jeremy, Kirk, do you guys have anything last minute that you want to say?
No, last thing I'm going to say, if nothing else works and you can't get your husband, significant other on board to go to anything or do anything, it's not going to be easy, but just try to prove them wrong. I mean, if you start making a couple hundred bucks a month, I doubt any husband's really going to get upset with that. And I know part of it might be too, a lot of husbands don't believe that this can really be a full-time gig, or you can really make that much money and all that stuff. But I mean, to use Megan as how many coaches do you have that are full-time? 6, 7, 8?
A lot. No, it's
Something
probably
like that.
close to 15.
Oh, well, that many coaches. So I mean, just use them as examples, I guess.
Yeah, you guys use other people as
All the goods rocks.
Yeah, it can happen. And someone said, what do you do if the husband's not being like someone who works out? Think of your challengers, guys. Think of the people who you're talking to. Until that spouse is ready to get active, they're not going to do it. And you don't want to be that annoying spouse that's saying, you need to do this, you need to do this. I wanted Kirk to do Beachbody programs for the longest time.
I always went to the gym and I fought her so hard on
doing
home workouts for, probably a year, or at least 2 years maybe before I did a Beachbody workout.
And now he's hooked.
Yeah.
Matt, Jeremy, anything else before we finish up?
No, go ahead, Jeremy.
I just, to add is, for those guys out there that may still doubt it, try asking some questions. Okay. It didn't happen for me overnight. It was a slow growth, but just take some time and really ask some questions. You'd be surprised at what she might tell you, because just in marriage in general, the thing that I am still working on after 10 years of marriage is being a good listener. Okay. And she wants to tell me about, coaches and where you might place them and struggles that she's having. And you know what? I mean, she can't do it on social media all the time. So just be that sounding board for her. And you might find out that it'll really start to warm on you.
Yeah. And I'll just say change is difficult, whether it's, somebody getting healthier, trying to make more money, improve themselves emotionally, whatever that might be. Change is always difficult for people. So sometimes a spouse might feel like they're being left behind. And if that starts to happen, just like Jeremy said, have that conversation to say, hey, look, I'm not trying to be better than you, or I'm not trying to take away from us. I'm trying to improve us. I'm trying to make us better. I'm trying to make us healthier. I'm trying to make money for us. And make sure that you guys are on the same page with all that. So that change can be better for everybody and not just create a division between you.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for sharing your input. I think it's good because we are mostly a girls' team or a women's team. We've got some guys on our teams, but it's mostly the husbands, right? And I think it's really important. So make sure that you share this recording once I get it up tomorrow, once it's loaded on YouTube. Yeah, it's recorded.
I didn't know that.
He's a pro. But, make sure that you have your husband listen to this and get them to the next Super Saturday in October, okay? Because live events, when they're around other people and they see that we're not just weirdos sitting on the computer, they see it's actually really cool people that do this business, it's going to become real,
Just let them know how important it is to you.
Yes, so important to make it real. And how important it is to you. So guys, thank you. I'll have the recording up tomorrow. I love you all. Mwah. And talk to you later.